Hello, good evening, good afternoon. Where there's no hope, the people perish. I'm Jan Roberts from South Africa, and this is yet another episode in the self-care series. And it's actually number 39, would you believe it? When I first thought I was going to do maybe 5 to 10 of them at most. But it's interesting, and today we're going to, you might have guessed by now, we're going to be talking about the real value of hope. See, we all have days that we feel we just cannot survive. Sometimes dreams are shattered, friendships fall apart, loved ones hurt us, finances worry us, sickness overtakes us. We may even lose some people we love, but there's always hope. See, never lose faith and hold on to hope. Because as I said, where there is no hope, the people perish. And that is actually a proven fact. And hope is basically what causes us to think we can get through this and we can do greater things. When you really think of it, it actually keeps us going during the most difficult times of life, and is one of the most amazing gifts we can actually give to others. It has the power to transform what we believe and expect. Hope sees the invisible, feels the intangibles, and achieves the impossible. That's what Helen Keller said, and I mean, she was an amazing person who did amazing things despite the challenges she faced from very early on in life. But hope actually enables us to see possibility in our problems and gives us a confidence that we can actually create change and improve our quality of life. Hope gives us a reason to live. The only thing left to do when a person's hope is gone is to actually bury them. It's a one thing we cannot do without. And if you really think of it right now, there is so many people who are anxious, who are desperate, who are fearful, who are suicidal. There is so many negative emotions around us now that hope is not really high on the calendar for many. But hope is a major difference maker in our lives. It fuels our imagination, increases the momentum of teamwork, and encourages people to take calculated risk with a confident expectation of receiving a reward for it. Hope actually changes the way we see ourselves, how we view others, and how we approach all of our circumstances. It has the power to alter what we value and directly affects what we do with our talents, time, and our resources. Our situation can be exactly the same, but we can feel completely different about them, and one little thing happens. When we have hope, when those little things happen, it makes a huge difference, because hope is the tipping point between impossible and possible. When we remove the word impossible from our thinking, you automatically raise your potential for achieving. We've all seen this thing, impossible. If you cut it up, I am possible or I am possible. That's what it means, but we need to be hopeful that we can be. And having hope actually means that we are focusing on what we can do instead of actually fixating on what we cannot do. In order to have hope, we must take control of our attitude and discipline ourselves to stay positive, especially when everything inside of us screams defeat. And I think that there is plenty of people at the moment who are screaming like that, who are desperate, probably is a good word. Businesses are going down, families are at loggerheads because they've been locked up together so much. Domestic abuse is at an all-time high. Suicide rates are doubling and quadrupling in areas. We need hope, people. We need hope. And this is something, there's a few things that, when you have hope, there is things that can happen with you. You will draw opportunities and people to you, believe it or not. Even just having hope. You will become more creative. And when you have hope, you will overcome obstacles much better than without it, because you see possibility instead of defeat. When you have hope, you will have a reason to face every day with enthusiasm and excitement. So how important is that? But there is also, there is a few ways that you can actually a few things you can do to actually become more hopeful. And one of them is choosing, and it's a choice, choosing to be positive, eliminate negative self-talk in your head, and focus on what could go right. See, we're so focused just now on what is going wrong and what can go wrong, and because that is the way many of us have been programmed for many years. And now the last year we've certainly been programmed for all the negative things that we are facing, for all the things that could go very wrong just now, because that's all we get on mainstream media, that's all we get told from governments and all the kind of specialists they employ. But within ourselves, we owe it to ourselves and the people around us that we become more hopeful, because we need it. But there is another thing you can do, is spend time with others who have hope. Because hope is very contagious, as well as negativity. We know that. You go and sit for long enough in a group of people who are very negative, and you need to get out there kind of fast, otherwise you become really negative. It starts playing on you. But so does hope. So there is actually hope for that as well. It is contagious. And another way you can become more hopeful and get more hope is when you help others change their way of thinking. Napoleon Bonaparte, that little French fellow, many years ago said, "Leaders are sellers of hope." Now my question for you is, what are you selling? Are you selling hope? Are you selling despair? And I'm not selling, I mean, you know what I mean. Are you exuding despair? Are you exuding fear? Are you talking fear and talking negativity? Or are you actually talking about hope? Now, there is one important thing about having hope and providing hope for others. To provide that hope for others, you need to have hope inside you. You need to have hope inside your heart and soul. It might take some practice to become more hopeful, but when you do, it will have absolutely great benefits for you as well as the people around you. We are indeed in a time this is so much more than important than ever before. And as the saying goes, where there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. Be that hope, be that seller of hope, provide hope for the people around you by becoming more hopeful yourself. And let's go more hopeful into the future together. You owe it to yourself. It is good for your health. It's good for the health of the people around you. Let's do this together. Remember, where there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. I will see you tomorrow. Take care.